Mr. Stephen.
You right? How you doing? You good?
I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, man. Well.
Good. I brought this for you. Little present.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Should I open that at the end?
Look at this. Yeah, whenever you're ready, mate. It's just what we do, mate. It's just a little bit of stuff.
Okay, cool.
So, I know you love it, so.
Hey. Right. So let's get going. I don't like to keep people waiting. So if you want to explain to the viewers what you do, and then we'll go about how you got about doing it, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I run a company called Sweet Science. I started it up.
Okay.
2005.
Yeah. Go.
Is it not? I thought it was automatic. I thought, what is this?
It goes halfway.
I thought it was going to go all the way. What kind of joint is this?
It teases you. Go on. So.
Yeah. 2005.
Okay.
Well, I'll give you the rundown. Why not? It's been a long time since I told that story. I used to do personal training.
Okay.
I was working with sort of like nice high-profile clients, people earn a lot of money and so on and so forth. And it got a little bit vacuous to me.
Okay.
You know, these people, they're just like, they weren't even training hard. They weren't really putting their heart and soul into it.
Okay. So what you felt, in a way, like you was getting paid, but it wasn't fulfilling you. It wasn't like you wasn't being satisfied with what you were seeing, with what you was doing, or? No,
exactly. It wasn't what I get into it for. It wasn't what I signed up for, as they say.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it, and I was earning good money, and I was meeting some real nice people. This is something that I got out of it, I've got to admit. Met some real nice people out of it. Opened up different avenues for me, made me see things in a different way. But it was around that time all the Stephen Lawrence business was going on.
Okay.
And things were changing. And I sort of felt like I could be doing something else. I could be doing something more.
Okay.
So things happened.
Yeah.
My sort of circumstances changed with the personal training. I started to get a little bit disengaged with it. And all of a sudden I just decided to open up this door to doing something new, working in schools, working with kids.
What gave you that idea? Like, what?
It was literally that. It was literally just that I was sitting around and I was training these very rich people and enjoying it and earning decent money doing it. But I just...
So you wanted to like give, you mean, like? Yeah,
but I tell you what the actual catalyst, and again, because I almost forgot, because it's been such a long time since I thought about this or told this story. I'm a nostalgic type of person, right? So I hooked up with I tracked down all of my old boxing buddies that I used to box with, right?
Okay, so we get into the boxing now. I'm into like the boxing, but go ahead. Yeah,
right. I tracked them all down.
Yeah.
And we met up, and I tell you what it was Rocky Balboa, the last Rocky Balboa movie that came out. It was actually called Rocky Balboa.
Okay.
Excuse me. It was the one where he's old now, and he comes out of retirement, and he fights against Antonio Tarver and all the rest of it, right? And because that's what started us all boxing. That's what got all me and all my friends. You can ask all of them.
What, Rocky?
Yeah, Rocky got me into boxing, mate.
No
Rocky.
way.
I went in and I saw Apollo Creed on the screen, mate. That was it.
Yeah.
I'd never seen a brother like that on TV before in my life, mate. Do you know what I mean? Running things and in good shape and articulate, and I just thought, Yeah, I just thought that's my guy right there, and it made me want to get into boxing.
Yeah.
So I hooked all up with him again, right?
Yeah.
And these are all just different walks of life people.
Yeah.
There's one guy from the Seychelles there. Other than that, they're all white guys.
Okay.
And we all met up down at Park Royal.
Yeah.
And I brought all my old, because like I told you, I'm nostalgic. I brought all my old clippings out.
Yeah.
And I was showing it to them, and they were all like looking at them, fascinated. And they all, like, some of them are bald now, some of them are fat.
Okay.
Some of them are fat and bald. Do you know what I mean? And, but we're all, and it's straight away. I hadn't seen these guys for years, but straight away we just thought, back Leroy, all right, how you doing? Like, talking about, remember that time? Like, nothing had changed.
Okay.
Right? And this is years gone by.
Okay.
And what are you doing, Adam? Oh yeah, I run this company and I'm doing this. And oh, what are you doing? I do this thing and it's with bouncy castles. And we going, oh, what are you doing? I run this thing. And it's and I don't know if it was on the spot or later on that night that it dawned on me. I thought, you know what? All of us are our own men.
Yeah.
All of us are people who just started up something from scratch.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be, that's too much for a coincidence.
Did you think that there was a common denominator there? There was something there?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%. Individual sport, yeah, we're a team, and you could see that we're a team. We work together. We all sparred each other and were competing against each other as such, but we're a team.
Yeah.
But it's an individual sport, and all of us. That's too much of a coincidence. None of us worked for anyone.
Yeah.
Not one of us worked for anyone. Do you know what I mean?
This is wicked. All right.
Yeah, and I just thought, you know what, man? There's something to this. Boxing's taught me stuff that I don't even realise.
Maybe gave you a confidence kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I started digging deeper into it myself, and then, like I say, all the Stephen Lawrence stuff and that was going on. And I thought, you know what, man, I got more to offer than this.
Yes.
And I started to creep out, and I started up this company called Sweet Science.
Okay. Why the name? Like Sweet Science. It's catchy, but
the name is Sweet Science is a term that's used for boxing.
Okay.
And the reason why it comes from a boxing. Well, he wasn't just a boxing journalist. He was a journalist back in the 40s, 30s and 40s. A.J. Liebling, a very well-known and well-renowned writer.
Okay.
If you look him up, he's hugely respected. And he used to hang around with people in the 30s and 40s who were all the high life and all the rest of it, the rich folks and all the rest of it, right? And they couldn't understand why he liked boxing, because boxing was seen as like a thug sport.
Okay.
And they were all into horse racing and tennis. And all this, you know what I mean? They was like, AJ, my God, it's funny, AJ as well, AJ. Do you know what I mean? But,
AJ,
yeah, right. It's funny, just thought that, but they all used to just sort of like, I can't believe you. What is this? It's a bit scummy, like, you know what I mean? Like, blah, blah, blah. So he sat down and he wrote this book called Sweet Science. And what he was doing in it basically was saying, there's so much more to this sport than meets the eye.
Okay.
People tend to think that this is just two guys getting in the ring, two muscular, like, half-wits. Who are just getting in and punching lumps out of each other.
Yeah.
But please stop, look and listen. There's so much more to this sport than meets the eye.
Yeah.
There's a sweet, and that's he termed the phrase, there's a sweet science to it.
Yeah.
And there is.
Okay.
This is like, Lennox Lewis said something once, which always stuck with me. He said, boxing is like chess, but at 100 miles an hour. And it is.
Okay.
Right, but you might not know what the capital of whatever is, or what, the fraction of this and the fraction of that.
You have to be smart.
You have to have a level of intelligence to be a good boxer, because you've got to work things out, man. It's like chess at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And it's that grace and calm and composure
within
under pressure.
Yourself as well, yeah.
Yeah, but under pressure, man, that's pressure. Someone's trying to take your head off. And you got to think about what to do next. Right, he's done that, and so he's going to probably do that again. So I'm going to do this to make him do that. And you're thinking these things in a millisecond while someone's launching shots at you. If you can do that, man, you can speak in front of people. You can stand up in front of 1,000 people and talk.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You could. There's so many things. There's so many doors that open when you do that. And again, with the things that we do in schools now, jumping a bit, that is what we do. All right, the kids aren't necessarily competing, but we're extolling the virtues of the things that I learned through boxing to them, and trying to teach them that, to live through it vicariously, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
To learn through these things.
And what are the ages that what's the ages that you tend to teach?
We in the private classes that I teach, I say that as long as a kid can listen, if a kid can listen to what I'm saying, and do the things I'm asking him to do, I'm willing to take them on. So I've had a 4 or a 5 year old who I'll take on, and then I've had like a 14-year-old who I won't take on. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not listening to nothing. Yeah. So, it varies.
All right. So, where was we? Okay. So you're saying, as long as that child can listen, then he's got something. So, and obviously a boy or girl, it doesn't matter.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The girls pick it up quicker than the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the boys come in there. You know what we're like, mate. The boys come in there and they think, I know how to punch, I know how to box.
From what age are boys like that? Like, have you noticed? Like, is it like if you put, say, a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old in there, or 6, they're okay, but once they reach maybe like 9, 10, 11?
It depends, man. It depends. You know what? A friend of mine used to always say, everything I used to say to him, I blame the parents. That was his line. Everything, you can tell him anything, right? And it's true. It's the upbringing a little bit. I know some blokes who are sort of like, chaps, cockney geezers, and they bring their boys up, look, we're going to get in there and blah, blah, blah. And then the kids develop that persona. But it gets found out sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It gets found out, and the kids...
So like they get checked, so, okay.
Yeah, they get checked by the quiet kid who's sort of like, the one who looks shy, and all of a sudden they're in there and they're moving around with them, and they see like, this kid's pretty good. Wow. I might have all of that, but this kid's actually quiet, but he's got it. And I love that.
So with them quiet children, do you have to work with them more to bring something out, or is it like a natural process where they're gonna eventually?
Do you know what? It's like I say, man. I love what I do. I was literally born to do this because I enjoy it so much. I get such a kick out of it. What this does when it's taught the right way, when boxing's taught the right way, it brings the kids with a lot of mouth and a lot of attitude and a lot of energy. It brings them down a little bit.
Okay.
It brings the kids with, you know, no self-esteem, no confidence. It raises them up a bit, and then what that does, man, is it makes everyone meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And everyone's cool, and that's what's so magical about it.
And how many schools, like, so when do you approach schools, or have schools approach you? Because I believe that what you're saying is vital, it's key, because when you think about it, it's true. A lot of people will end up, maybe even with the want to work for themselves or stand on their own 2 feet, but they don't, because they just haven't got that confidence. Whether they know it or not, they haven't got the confidence. They haven't got the drive to do it. But if you teach, you know, I'm not saying it makes someone arrogant, but by the sounds of it, knowing that you can go through that gives you, like, confidence. So you can you can go to someone who maybe otherwise would make you feel intimidated because he's more like intellectual than you, or he's more well read than you. But you can go toe to toe with him because you stand strong. You know. And I think that's brilliant. I think that's amazing. Like, with what you're doing, it teaches them discipline and confidence, and that's, I think, what you need, especially for the generation coming up now.
More than ever. More than ever.
I think that's brilliant. So, so have schools what? So how does it work? Do schools approach you, or you?
It works both ways. Some schools have heard about what we do and get in touch with us. We approach schools and stuff. We send out emails and stuff like that. I have, a very nice lady who does that for us, and constantly sending stuff out to schools. But what you just said, just to touch on that, what you just said about, help develop the confidence, it's sort of a well-known sort of like word or axiom or whatever you want to call it, that boxing helps develop confidence, and that's just thrown out all the time. And it's sort of like, boxing helps develop confidence. But I went deep on that, and I started to think to myself, well, why does it develop confidence? What is it about boxing that develops confidence? Because you just said another word as well, arrogance. Does it make somebody confident, and think, well, I can knock people out, I'm a boxer now, so now I'm confident? Does it do that? To the wrong person, perhaps it does.
I think there's a silver line, like a small kind of border where you can go over.
It's how it's taught.
By the discipline as well, isn't it?
It's how it's put across. So you is that why it gives you confidence? That would be wrong. I wouldn't want to give someone that sort of confidence, because I can knock most people out, so I can do what I want, because then that's going to breed arrogance. Right. What I think, when it's taught the right way, and there's a lot we don't just hold up pads and tell people how to throw 1-2s and stuff like that. We develop them emotionally as much as we do physically. And what then happens is, you can turn around and you're saying to a kid, okay, you've got this ability now, you're getting better at it, but what you're going to do with that now? Is this something that you're going to go out, and maybe you were bullied and that's why you got into boxing, which is how I got into boxing, because I got bullied when I was younger. Are you going to become that guy now, or are you going to actually be someone who helps? And do
you have these talks with them?
Yeah, man. Wow. Our classes, mate. Do you know what? Like, if we do an hour session in schools, when we're working specifically in schools, our classes are. The kids know it. They say sometimes you might come to this session, and do you know what? We might not do any boxing. We might sit down here and talk today. We might talk through some stuff.
This is so good, man.
Yeah, but there might not be any. You might not be getting no gloves on. We just sit down, and the kids. Man, I've had some literally goose pimple moments, and I'm getting now where kids have walked out of the class after we haven't done any boxing and said, like, do you know what, thank you, sir, that was like, really get that now, that's something we can move ahead with.
And these ones that are coming to your class from the schools, not from the private one, are they just anyone picked, or is it you teach like year by year? Or
when I'm working in schools?
Yeah, when you're working in schools,
we go in and we work, we teach like a PE lesson.
Okay.
And again, it varies.
For anyone, like people, like the kids who listen, the kids who are a bit disobedient, for all of them?
Yeah. So we'll work a PE lesson, and it's just across the board. But what's good about that is, in every class you teach, it's so sort of cliched in a way. In every class you teach, there's the class clown, there's the one who's shy, there's the one who's maybe a little bit overweight and doesn't want to get involved. There's the one who thinks they're it, who says I've done boxing before, and they haven't and they're not very good. There's the kid who's do you know what I mean? I do, sir. there's these stereotypes, and that's again what I love saying to kids. I say, man, I've seen a million of you.
Yeah.
You ain't new to me. Do you know what I mean? There's one of you in every class.
Yeah.
There's 50 of you in every school I go to.
Yeah.
You're not new to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know your story, and I know the way it can go. I know the different directions this can go with you. You've got different variations, and it's eye opening. It's eye opening to some of the kids. They're like, huh? What? Do you know what I mean? You mean I'm not unique? I'm like, not completely, no. Not really.
So what? All right. So what about like the kind of older generation? Say from like 16 up to say early 20s. That kind of. Have you worked with any of them who maybe went off the, went on the wrong path?
Yeah.
Have you had any stories where you've kind of turned someone around due to boxing?
Yeah, big time. Someone springs to mind straight away. I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning his name. He's on board. He's solid. He's proper staunch. And he's one of the best students I've ever had in my life. His name's Morgan.
Okay.
I won't tell you his second name. Not that it matters. He knows who he is, but he's Morgan. And his mum walked into the gym at a school I was working in one day, and she said, "Look, this is my boy Morgan." I goes, "Okay, nice to meet you. How you doing?" He was put onto us by a local authority, something like that. I can't remember what it was. But his mum came in, lovely lady, and she said, and I goes, "Okay, what's he up to?" She goes, "He's hanging around with the wrong crowd. He's hanging around on street corners. He's doing stuff that he shouldn't perhaps be doing. He's not helping out around the house. I'm at home. I've got a daughter. I've got another son. It's hard." And I said, "Oh, okay, all right. Well, nice." And she left. She goes, she left the room. It's just me and him. It's lucky it worked out this way. As it goes, it's just me and him in the room. And I started having a chat with this guy, and we, he's a typical
what
teenager.
Was his age,
first of all,
roughly,
he was, I think he was sort of like about 15, 16 at that point.
All right, yeah.
And he was initially your typical teenager, but I was alone with him, and we had the opportunity to be able to just get deep with him pretty quick. And he's a very smart kid. That's the thing about it. So I was able to. If he was talking about wrestling and stuff and crazy things, then I'd be sure, okay, I know the level. But we started talking really deep, really quick. Yeah. And I told him something that, again, and it's very personal to me. And I told him something that I don't really tell many people, but now I'm telling God knows how many. We're talking about it on here. I told him about the last conversation I had with my mum, and I was getting ready for work. And my mum called me, as she always, I was just about to say always does, always did. And I looked at the phone and I seen mum, and I was sort of like on time for work. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to be like. And I remember looking at the phone and thinking, I'll just put it down. I'll call her back later. I'll call her back in a bit, and blah blah blah. And I rarely do that, but I was ready to go, and I just said, "Okay, Mum, how you doing?" She goes, "All right, Lee, what are you doing, darling?" I said, "I'm all right, Mum." I said, "I'm just getting ready to go to work," and typical mum fashion. She goes, "Oh, all right, Lee, well, don't let me stop you. Go on, don't be late, darling. You don't be late. Are you warm? You got a vest on? Do you know what I mean? You got clean underwear." Yeah. I told you she's a paddy, mate. I told you my mum got dressed herself. She knows where I'm coming from with this one, right? So she's like, "Yeah, all right, son. Yeah, have a good day. Like, let me know how it goes. Give me a call later. Yeah, make sure you eat and blah blah blah." I said, "Yeah, all right, Mum. I'm cool. Don't worry. It's all right." I'm like a 40-year-old geezer at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
but still, mum is mum.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it and I miss it. Yeah. And I said, "All right, love you, Mum." She said, "Love you too. See you later, Leroy, darling. Bye, bye, bye. Bye. See ya." And that was the last conversation I ever had with her, because she had a stroke that night, and she was never the same. She never resumed like proper consciousness. She was sort of like lost after that. And I told Morgan this. I told him this, and my reason for telling this story is like, you don't know when this stuff's going to change, when things are going to switch like this, and how much you have to respect the woman who, no matter who comes into your life, who you're gonna, no woman's gonna love you like your mum, no matter who you come across. 100. No woman's ever gonna love you like your mum does. And I told him this stuff, and he doesn't even know. I don't know if he'll ever see this or whatever, but I saw his eyes. When someone, when they don't blink, because they know if they blink,
tears are gonna come out.
So he's holding his eyes open, right? And I went, "Do you know what? I just got to grab something over in the other room." I said, "I'll be back in 5 minutes." I said, "Just hold on here for a minute," and blah blah blah. And I just went and I left him.
So you can. Okay.
And I came back like 5 minutes later, and then I just got straight on the boxing. I goes, "All right, so boxing, I said you got a good frame for it, blah blah blah." And we got into the boxing, right? Now this kid, man, he just, the same way I did when I first got into boxing, he just listened to everything I told him, right, and he done it. And if I told him to run 2 miles, he'd run 4. Wow. Right? If I told him to do 20 press-ups, he'd do 25, 30. Right? And he just switched it up. And then I saw his mum the next week, and his mum goes, "Oh yeah, you know, he's doing really well." And he started to do this, that, and I thought, all right, that's standard. This is week 1. Week 2, she come in, she goes, "Yeah, he's still doing this, blah blah blah." Week 4, week 7, week 8, she goes, "I can't believe it. He came in the other day and he painted the room. Like, he's done his whole room and he's decorated and he's done this, that, and the other." And I'm like, okay, brilliant. This is going well. And then he started. I've got videos of the geezer. He looked like a rake when we first started training. Then all of a sudden his back started to come up. He wanted to compete with me on the pull-ups, which I'm still nailing you, Morgan. If you do listening, right, I'm still nailing you on that. All right, that won't change.
Yeah.
All right, but the geezer now, mate, he's a monster. He's a monster. I mean, I used to spar him. Now I'm sort of like, you know what? I've hurt my elbow. Yeah. I've had a rough night. Yeah. So I just leave him be now. But he's changed his life around now, and he's, you know, my missus put a word in for him, got him a really decent job, you know, and he's doing well now. He's going to be like, hopefully a what do you call it, a union rep and stuff like that. And he's the right person for it, because he can speak to people. He can, do you know what I mean? He get on with people. Now, this is something that's really important as well. Is when someone looks the physical part, that they could perhaps take care of business if you want to. Yeah. But they don't rely on that. They don't use that. They've got this. They've got intellect. Yeah,
and they've got their mind.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And they can articulate themselves very well. And at the same time, you know that if we run out of that, if we run loose, then what's the next option? Yeah. What's the next option? You don't want to know, really. So not that it's not a threat. It's
just as there.
It's human nature, man. We can pretend all we want, and people can say, you know, oh. And this is what makes me laugh. People are always talking about, oh, violence isn't the answer. But I completely agree, violence isn't the answer. But yeah, when the governments run out of negotiations with, what do? They send in people. They send bombs. They send ground troops in. They send guys with bayonets and bullets. But yet the whole thing is like, oh no, violence isn't the key. Yeah, hypocrisy. But what do we do when we run out of intellect? When we run out of when we can't, you know, agree to disagree anymore? Yeah. So that does make me laugh. Listen, do you know what? Like, to have the ability to defend yourself is a must. This is important as it's as important as knowing how to tie your shoelaces. Really, you know. And a great saying that I love and know: it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, man. Yeah. You got to have that ability, because if someone comes to trouble you, and there's plenty of people out there who want to do stuff like that, do you curl up into a ball and say, please don't? You can't. Is that going to help you with some of these? You can't. No.
You can't, but no, I think that even that's why a lot of people will roll in a gang, because on their own they're not that confident, they're not that guy without their people. Yeah. So what you're doing, I'm not saying you're breeding people are gonna be gangsters on their own. I'm saying that what you're doing, and I think is amazing, is teaching children to be like leaders within their own life. Yeah, you don't need to join a gang. You have got enough confidence to not have to. Exactly. You see some of these gangs, they say, if you want to join us, you bring your girlfriend along and we're going to run a train on her. I'm not going to go into what that is. I know. You know what that is, right? Yeah. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Like, I'm trying to say, you don't know me, but can you imagine someone saying that to me? No. And I'm sure I don't know you that well, but could you imagine someone saying that to you? You'd be like, "What? In me to get?" I don't think there'll be words. So wait a minute, let me get this right. So I'm going to join your gang, and I'm going to bring my girlfriend along, and in order to be really. But that's because I think, me personally, I was raised right. Like the fire part in me was, you know, stoked right. So it's there when it needs to be there. Yeah. So. Yeah, but other especially young men, they don't have that. Like, a lot of people are growing up without a good male figure. Yeah, that's and even girls, young girls, they'll grow up without a good male figure, so they don't know what a good man is. Yeah, so they'll settle for some, you know, who's gonna give them the right attention and all what they think is the right attention. Yeah, and it's just a sad thing. So. It all I never thought of it like that. It all comes from confidence, and I think you've tapped into something that's pretty genius.